All right, we're live. Welcome, guys, to episode 11 of Luna Podcast. Today's episode, it's going to be a very good one for the ladies. There's a whole movement of talk with the ladies and how they're talking about that there's no good men out there. And I dove really deep into the rabbit hole to try to get you guys as much information to help you guys out. There's a lot of things that women are doing in today's society that's disqualifying them from finding that true partner that they deserve in their life. So I ended up making a list of what I feel like could help you guys out attract the good man for your life. And there's a lot of things that could be controversial, and I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to be honest. There's a lot of things that you guys might not want to listen to. But honestly, there's a lot of content out there, TikTok, YouTube, and there's a lot of content that caters to your emotions instead of telling you how it is, how it's supposed to be. And it's leaving a lot of women confused. And I'm here to tell you, I'm going to give you guys the true reality of what you guys might be doing. If you guys are single and looking to find that good, high value man, these are the steps. I have them right here on my list. And it's honestly the secret sauce that you guys could use in today's society. You guys can use it. You guys won't use it. It's up to you. But honestly, this is information that will help you, guaranteed. Like, I've spoken to a lot of men about this. I am a man myself. I've developed myself to be at my high top tier of man, and I'm still pushing up. And I know what it's like to be in this position to request the best possible woman as well. So these are steps that are going to help you understand the way the world works today. Because I'm pretty sure you guys have heard it. It's a fucked up world. It's a fucked up culture. And a lot of people, they're struggling to truly find their partner, even just to keep them. So that's why the title of this episode is how to attract and how to retain a high value man. And in a lot of my last episodes, I break it down with the red flags, the boundaries, the things that you're supposed to do to attract the opposite sex. And I go, on both genders. But today it's going to be help for the ladies. And there's going to be a lot of information here that might be new. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard some of it, but I'm going to summarize it as best as possible. I'm going to give you guys a rundown. I'm going to give examples too. And yeah, just buckle up and just, like I said, take this with an open heart. I think the best way you could receive information is just to receive it with an open heart. Any of the stuff that I might be saying, it's not to talk shit. It's not to hurt anybody's emotions purposely. It's to help you guys out at the end of the day. It's just the reality. There's a lot of things that as a man, the world beats us already. So I want to do this favor as well with these podcasts to help as many people as I possibly can, because it comes from a good place in the heart. There's many times that I've been wounded by women, but it doesn't create a space in my head to where I'm like, nah, fuck women, fuck this. Like, I'm not even to that point because I know every woman is different. So without further ado, so there's a list here that I made, and I'm going to start off with number one. So the number one that I feel like a lot of women lack to find a good man is wherever you go. There's a lot of things that women do, like going to bars, clubs. Like they go to the places that you're not going to find this man there. Like most of these guys that are high value, they're not at bars getting drunk every single day. They're just not. You might find a guy that you just might want to just have fun with. That's about it. But to find somebody of high value, you're not going to find them there. It might be once in the blue moon. There might be cases where that happens. But if you really want a true masculine man that's virtuous, that has his finances in order, that's in shape, that does everything right in his life. And if he's religious as well, like if you have a list of things that you look for in a man, I bet you anything at a bar, you're not going to find that. Because just think of it. When you go to a bar, the only way that you could find somebody there is just attraction level. Like you're looking around and you'd be like, oh, I find that person attractive. I find that person attractive. So you're doing this the entire time. But the thing is that you're missing the root of who they are. Like, unless you're going there for one night stands and you want to keep doing that, that's on you. But I'm going to cover it later in this episode as to how that's going to disqualify you in the end. So this is for women that are serious about finding somebody for their life. If you want to go out there, hoe around, go do that. But you're just going to disqualify you. And I'm going to explain here why here in a little bit. So don't go to bars. Don't go to clubs, parties. Like, forget all of that. If you want to find a good man, honestly, for a woman to find a good man, start at the church. Because there are statistics that say that 1 out of 3 guys are virgins. Like, so there is men out there that are truly dedicated to God and they haven't slept around. They're going to be loyal to you. But that's the problem though with most women nowadays. And I'm going to explain it, is that you guys always ask, like, is there any loyal men? Or if there's any loyal men out there? Yeah, they're everywhere. It's just you're not attracted to them. Just think about that. Think about the guy that you got coffee at Starbucks. Like you didn't pay attention to him. The guy that works at Walmart. You didn't pay attention to him. He wasn't attractive enough for you. Just think of these cases where you look around, and this is not to bash anybody in these fields, but it's just the way I've understood how women look at the world. And they've done studies on this. They've done it on dating apps. They've done it on Hinge, Tinder, and I think Bumble, where I think it was like 85% of women, they find the majority of guys unattractive. So that means that they're swiping left on the majority of guys. I think it's 1 out of 16 right swipes for each woman. But for a man to get a match, I think it's 1 out of 1,000. Just think about that. And these are numbers that are real stats. Like, I've actually written them all down. I don't have them on me right now. I'm just saying it from the top of my head. But the stats are extremely crazy when it comes to the attractive level of what women look for. So with that being said, is that most women, they're wanting the top, 10, 20% of guys. That's a very small pool. Most women, they want a guy that's tall, that makes this amount of money, and the list goes on. But the thing is like, you have to date your level in a way. Like if you're trying to find a good man, you're going to have to date at your level. And I'm talking about the sexual marketplace. And the sexual marketplace is what the world sees you as. And by what I mean by that is, like, whenever you go out, people are going to be like, oh no, she's a 5, she's a 6. The world dictates your value. And that's why it's called the sexual marketplace, because you always hear it in these podcasts that these women are like, no, I'm a 10. I'm perfect. I'm like, no, the fuck you're not. And the more that you live with this delusion in your head, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to attract that person that you need in your life. And the more that this happens, women are left like, what the fuck? Like, I can't retain a guy. The guy could use you. Yeah. I've talked about this in the last episode. The guy's going to use you, and then he's going to dump you because he saw things in you that he just disqualifies you. So you have to have humility as well to understand that your value as a woman, it's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We're not perfect as men either. But we just have to accept what we are, because the more humility we have and other people see it, That's a kind heart. That's being feminine in the aspect of the woman. And that's what men look for, a feminine woman. You know how you hear all these cases of women turning into more masculine women. And this is why it's causing a lot of conflict whenever you do retain the guy. Whenever you do attract the guy to come into your space or you go to his space, you have to see what type of man that guy is too. Because just because he's attractive, just because he's funny, just because he's good looking, that's, there's a longer list that you have to look at, especially if you want the relationship to work. Is he masculine? Can he take care of his bills? Can he take care of his kids? There's things to look at. And I know a lot of women, they ignore these red flags, just like men do, but right now I'm going to be talking about women. So you gotta vet the guy as well and see what he is. And like, if you're able to attract them, you're gonna have to see his background. Because like I said, most women, they're attracted for the top 20% of men. But a lot of women, they mistake that because he might be so good looking in her eyes that she ignores that he's not even top 20% of man, because he doesn't have his finances in order. He's out of shape. There's other things that could really destroy his quality as a man. And that's what I'm telling you guys right now. Like, if you guys want to find that and retain, that's the important thing. Because I hear a lot of cases like, oh yeah, I attracted a millionaire. I attracted this guy that has a lot of money. But I ask him, I'm like, well, where is he now? He's nowhere to be found. But they always say, oh, well, we almost got married. I'm like, no, the fuck you didn't, because you never got the ring. So like, the more you stop living in delusion, you're going to attract what you deserve in life. Honestly, stop living in delusion. So number 2, when you do find this guy, like I said before, you got to see what he's about. Start bringing value to him. And by what I mean by this is start having wifey duties. I don't give a fuck if you're not married to him yet or engaged. There's a lot of attitude that women have, which is actually kind of my third one right now, but there's a lot of bad attitudes that women have that it's one of the biggest indicators that I hear from men that it's a push off. Most men, they don't want to deal with a nagging woman. So if he sees that you have attitude, that you have masculine energy, that you're very combative, guess what? You're disqualified. Because he knows that if he does give you a ring and he comes home to that, he knows that it's always going to be a battle every evening whenever he walks through that door that you guys bought together or have together, whatever. High value men know what they want. The guys that are after you, and I'm pretty sure most of the women that are listening, you guys have DMs from many guys. They're chasing you because they see you as a prize. But you see the prize only in a man that's of value. I always say, I said this in the last episode. I think a guy that chases a woman like endlessly, just trying and trying and trying, that makes him a beta male. And the reason I say that is because the dynamic of power that he's handing over to you, just look at it from this example. He's DMing you, hey babe, or hey love, you look amazing today. He's commenting on every of your photos. Oh, you look so hot today. So like, in your mindset, think about it. You're like, I have this guy here at the palm of my hands. I have the power to respond to him or not to. That's the power dynamic I'm talking about. And most guys, they don't understand this. But why? Is because most guys, majority of guys, 80% of guys, I would say, are beta males, or they don't understand the reality of how the world works with women. That's why in all these episodes that I talk about, I'm helping both genders. I'm trying to put the reality out there, the truth, all based on research, facts. There's a book behind me. It's over here by David Buss. It's Evolutionary Psychology. And it talks a lot about how the world works through time, how humans think, what they do because of a certain thing, like habits. And the more you understand psychology and how people work mentally, you become unplugged and you start seeing the world so different. But right now, everybody's walking around just because this person said something, so I'm going to listen to him. And then you make a mistake, and then you start listening to this other person. They're like, oh, you should do this. And then you're just all over the place. And guess where that leaves you? It leaves you in a place of misery. You feel lost. You feel alone. And I'm sure you guys have felt that. That's why whenever you're going through something difficult, it's really important to have a community like friends, family, somebody that you could talk to. And I always say this, in every circle that you have, always have that person that's going to be honest with you. And honest, not the one that's going to be a cheerleader, because most cheerleaders, especially for women, they know you're fucking up and they're only cheering you on because of whatever reason, but it's not the honest reality of how the world works. So that's why I'm telling you this information right now. Like, don't even listen to your girlfriends if they're giving you bad advice and you've ended up in the same situation over and over. I think that's one of the big reasons that most women fall into big issues in life is because they're listening to their single friends. Like, if you want to take advice from somebody that's actually done it. Like, if you have a friend that's married, be like, how are you keeping your husband? How are you in a happy marriage? But you're listening to your single friends that are sleeping with men every fucking weekend. Like, come on. Like, it's common sense. Like, why are you going to listen to people that haven't done it? They live their life for a specific reason, is because they're not ready to step away from the reality of their trauma or whatever they're going through. But that's not your issue. If you're serious about finding somebody in your life, you have to dig deep inside your soul and be like, you know what? Like, if you pray to God, just be like, God, I need help. Guide me and send a man that is well and high value and everything that you want in your life. You got to think about it that way. So let me just look at the list quick. Let me take a little coffee break. Oh man, I was talking there for a little bit, huh? Yeah, but I want to give you guys the true sauce of what's going to help you, because I feel like we live in a world today where people are lying to each other because they don't want to see each other win. And I see it so much with women. Like, there's also a stat that I think the friend groups, when one of the girls from the friend group gets married, that friend group usually it destroys itself. It doesn't keep going on, but it's usually because of enviness. And I think most women are in competition with each other at a whole nother level. And you guys got to stop doing that, because who's looking? The men, like, or the men are just looking around like, what the fuck is happening? You know, a lot of women, they lead their life based on an influence. And most of the time it's due to bad women that are single, women that haven't really done anything with their life. So find a mentor. I think that's one of my biggest advices that I would give women and women that I've talked to. Like, if you're struggling to find your way, find a mentor that's done it, that is actually living life the way you would love to as well. And I have a really bad taste on therapists, and just because I've heard bad stories. Unless you get really, really lucky and you get a really good therapist, that's all we could wish for. But even therapists, they become your friends, and If a woman finds a therapist that's a woman, she might become, like I said, your friend, and she might not be there to tell you what you're supposed to do. She's just there to cater to your emotions. So nothing ever happens. There's many cases like that. Look it up. Like I'm telling you, like I've done so much fucking research on the teachings even of therapists. You know, and I study a lot of the psychology part, like I said, with this book that I have behind me. It's taught me a lot of what human beings do. So, anyways, before I keep going somewhere else with this, the number three is the respect. I know I talked a little bit about the attitude part on women, that they're not supposed to be doing this. Don't nag. Make yourself feminine. And like I said, like I hear this a lot too with women. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to be in my feminine energy till I get with the guy." I'm like, no, that's a bad recipe. Because how are you going to practice? You're pretty much telling the guy that you're masculine instead of just being like, no, I'm just feminine naturally. You know what I'm saying? Like these are little words that women they fuck themselves up. Just be feminine in general. Start practicing that after this fucking podcast episode. Like you have to be that. You can't just flick the switch and be like, oh, I'm going to be feminine once I get a guy. You're never going to attract them. At least the right guy. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of fucking thirsty men out there. I'm telling you, 80% of guys, I would say, that are beta males, those are the ones in your DMs that would just give you the fucking world if they could. It's because they have no abundance. They have no frame. They don't have a lot of qualities that puts them at the top 20, 10% of men. So just think about that. And stop saying that you guys have rosters, because you guys don't have rosters. I think that's bullshit. I think the thing about the rosters, I think it's garbage. You guys feel like you guys have a roster because you have all these guys in your DMs, but all they want to do is fuck you. They don't want to marry you. That's not a flex. Unless you want to be doing this for the rest of your life and you're just going to be used up. So why even say you have a roster? You have a roster of thirsty men. So I fucking hate when women say that shit. Like, why isn't it that I'll have a roster of men that want to marry me? I've never heard that one before. Think about that. You know, just use the language of a way that's going to attract a man, because all this stuff that I'm talking about is things that I've heard. I've talked to a lot of women. I've talked to a lot of men. So the third one, it's the respect. I think that's the biggest one. It goes into the world of being submissive, listening to what he tells you to do, to abide by him. And it's not being controlling, it's not being toxic, because I'm pretty sure some of you guys are gonna be like, oh shit, he's talking about being submissive. Well, for the right man, you would. It's just you haven't met him. So that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of women, they have this really naive thinking because they've been used to being with a lot of garbage men, a lot of losers. So of course they're gonna be like, I'm never gonna submit to a fucking man. But till you find the right man, you're gonna see that it's gonna be the best experience of your life. He's gonna take care of you. He's gonna treat you like a queen. But you have to earn it as well. He's not just gonna give it to you. That's why you have to come with qualities, bring value to his life. Stop having that entitled mentality, because the more you do that, it's going to be a push off from the guy. He's going to keep you around just to use you, but he's not going to give you the ring. So yeah, the third one was the respect. Stop with the boss bitch mentality. That in itself, it just indicates to the guy that you're independent, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're paying your bills, you do everything that you're supposed to. But with that, a lot of women, they develop being more masculine just because they're doing everything on their own, which is understandable. But just know, if you have that attitude of boss babe and all that stuff, don't put that shit up all publicly, because he's going to go look. I'm telling you, a lot of guys, if they want to vet a woman, they're going to look at your social media. They're going to be like, is she talking this way? What is she showing? Who is she following? Is she showing a lot of skin? There's a lot of things that a guy looks at. I'll get more into it right now, but stop the boss bitch mentality. The guy doesn't want to date himself. And I'm talking about a guy that's high value. That every time I say things, it's a high value guy is not going to want this. A loser will. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't know what's red or what's right or left. Like he's going to accept whatever he can because he can't get anything else. So understand that. There's a lot of things that I'm going to tell you guys that it's going to be a little shocker. You guys might not want to hear it, but you guys have to hear this because this is the sauce that's going to help you. Trust me. So let me see right here. Yeah. So like if you have that boss bitch mentality, just understand if you give them attitude, you're talking to one of the top tier of men. I'm talking about a guy that's top 10, 20%, and he's not going to put up with it. Why? Because he's desired by many. A guy like this has an abundance of other options. These are the only type of guys that could cheat whenever they want or step out whenever they want. So you have to be your best self. You can't have the same attitude, the same push-off attitude, or any of the bad traits that you had with the losers in the past. He's going to read that. He's going to be like, nah, fuck that. Like, I've known that type of woman and what she could do. So you have to be at your best behavior. Don't have that fucking attitude. So number 4, it leads from respect as well, and it's accepting his boundaries. I think this is the one where a lot of women end up stepping out of the relationship with a guy that was trying to set boundaries. Now, if the guy's a loser and he can't pay his bills, he's not shit, like actually not shit, then yeah, it's kind of hard for a woman to respect boundaries. But if it's a top value guy, he has his finances in order, he could give you the life that you want, you have to abide by his boundaries. Whether it be no more girls trips, no more trips to Vegas, to Miami, Nashville, these places where there's a big party scene. Just know that all of that goes out the window. And that's what a lot of women, they don't understand, is that once you go through the single life and you're always out partying with your friends, traveling and just doing everything that you just want to do, that's great and all. But just know that the past will matter to him. And he's going to be like, oh shit, she's been all over the place. And usually these places, people are hooking up and he's not going to like that. I'll talk about it here a little bit more on the next one, that guys just don't want a woman with a high body count. So you have to present yourself as a wife. Don't present yourself as a woman that loves to party, that loves to show her goodies and everything. You have to present yourself like you're in an interview, always. Like always. And I think it's on one of my next ones too. One of the biggest things too, you guys are going to be like, what the fuck? Is to keep your profile private. Like that's a huge one. For me, that's a huge one. That's a very, very big one. And the reason I say that is because I know how the world works. I know how men could be out there. And I don't want my wife to ever be in a position to where she's posting about herself or the kids. And that in itself is more putting herself in danger. It's more for safety, but as well because she's not advertising herself out publicly. Even though I know that the wife that I'm going to have, she's not going to be doing that. She's not going to have her goodies on and stuff like that. But I think one of the biggest things high value men always talk about is that they don't want a woman that loves social media, that loves the attention. That's a huge one because she's getting a lot of stimulus, which is attention, and that in itself could be bad. There's studies to prove it. Like it's just a stimulus of receiving dopamine hits, the likes, the comments. So like if you get in a fight with that woman that gets a lot of stimulus, she has a place to always run to. And that in itself is bad. I've experienced it myself. I've dated a woman like this, and she was an influencer. That was the biggest mistake of my life. Later on, I found out that she was entertaining the opposite sex. It was like after I had already, split it up with her. It's very telling what a woman does with the opposite sex attention, or from the attention from men. So guys, they're catching up with this. Yeah, guys, they like to see women and stuff like that, but I'm talking about those guys are like the 80% of guys. That's the majority of guys. Of course, they're going to be subscribed to OnlyFans. They're going to be looking at bikini girls on fucking Instagram and Facebook or TikTok, wherever. Like, yes, those are the majority. But I'm talking about the top 10, 20% of guys are not going to be doing that. They're not going to be going through Instagram and looking at stuff like that. And I think I'm confusing it a little bit because there is a lot of men that are successful. Like there's cases with the Shannon Sharp. He's classified as being in the top, 10% of men. But the thing is, and that's why I told you early in the episode, you have to vet the guy. You have to see his background. You have to see his values. Because if not, he's going to do this fuckery. Doesn't matter how much money he has, he's still going to have lustful eyes for the opposite sex. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a list to look at after the attraction even happens at the beginning. Because, yeah, he could have money. He could be good looking. But what about the other things internally? That's your job to find it. And a good way to find it is just look at his Instagram. Look at his social media. Who is he following? I think you'll be able to tell a lot by who a man follows. I mean, if he's always following all these fucking models, I mean, he has really, really big issue with being lustful. So the number 4 was accepting the boundaries. No girls trips, no bars. Another thing too is, well, there's 2 of them right here. You have to dress modest. Outside of the social media thing, you have to dress modest. And it means covering anything here or down there as well. I'm talking about minimal, if anything, like of not even showing cleavage. There's a line with all of this and the way a guy looks at a woman. But he will know instantly, and I'm talking about a high value guy, he will know if you're doing it for attention or you're trying too hard. There's this new trend of how women in corporate are dressing with the tight dresses, showing a little bit. But, that's a whole other talk that I could talk about. But because an environment like that for a woman is detrimental. Like, I think I do touch base on that subject with this a little bit here in the later of this episode, but you do not want to be showing a lot of cleavage or a lot of exposure. A guy doesn't want that. He wants that only for his eyes. Why do you think now guys, they don't cherish a woman whenever she wears lingerie? I've heard stories from women that are married. They're like, I wore my lingerie for him and it didn't turn him on. I'm like, well, he's probably watching porn. He's probably just looking at somewhere else. And I think that's what fucked up men in the head as well, is that porn is easily accessible for them. So that's why I said you have to look at the guy and his background and see how he carries himself, how he looks at his family, his mom, the relationship. These are things that I'm telling you guys that it's going to help. Because I could really, truly break it down, but I only got a certain amount of time for these type of episodes. But I'm just trying to summarize it as best as possible to benefit you guys. And you guys might be looking at me like, what the fuck is he saying? I can't dress this way. I'm like, no, not for the good guy. Not for the high value guy you want. Unless you guys want to keep settling for beta males that you're going to get bored of in the future. You got to think about that. And that's you settling. You're going to lose the attraction in a few years. Might work for one year, 2 years, maybe. But the divorce papers, I know they're going to be handed to him in the future. There's research to prove it. It's called hypergamy. And I've talked about it before in my last episodes, that a woman wants to look up to a guy. And if you settle for a guy, you're looking down on him. So the next one, so on number 4, you cannot have guy friends. And I think this goes into my other one as well. So you cannot have guy friends. You cannot show that you have an abundance of men around you. That's why I talked about the corporate woman working in an office, especially if she's surrounded by men. That's you playing with fire, like complete fire. It's called mate choice copying. It's actually in this book right here too. It works only for men. A lot of women are going to listen to this and be like, no, that's not true. Women want to be with a man that other women want. That's the best way for me to explain it. They look at a guy, and if other women want him, that woman is instantly attracted to him. That's called mate choice copying. With women, it does not work. A man will get turned off by that. The right guy. Because like I said, majority of guys, they just want to get in your pants. So you cannot show that you have an abundance of guy friends or even no guy friends at all. Because that high value guy, he knows that when there's an issue, the risk is there that you're going to go run to your guy friends and talk about your issues. And that's extremely disrespectful. So there's no such thing as a woman having guy friends. I'm sorry, there isn't. There's many cases where they're always like, oh no, he's just a friend. It's all over TikTok. Most women right now, they're getting caught cheating on their man. And honestly, I think women, you guys are going to hate me to say this, but I think women do cheat a little bit more than men do. And the only reason I say it is because most men, they can't even cheat. Most men they're not even in the pool of being attracted to the opposite sex. Like I said, the majority of guys are unattractive to most women. They only want a certain percentage of men. And most of all guys, they equally want women, but they can't get them because most women are just looking up at the top 20% of guys. So even just based on that alone, it just proves that most women, if they're not disciplined, they're going to cheat more. And that's why you have to have a good circle. Most women that have single friends as well are going to keep you single. So that's another thing to keep in hand, is that if a guy does come into your life and he's everything you ever wanted, just understand that he's going to ask about your friend group. And then he's going to ask, are they single? And if you guys have been friends for a long time, and I'm talking about with you and your girlfriends, he might ask you to dwindle that relationship. And you might deem that toxic. But the thing is that this man, he's going to give you the life that you want. So you have a choice to make. These are things that I'm telling you guys. This is real sauce. You guys don't fucking roll your eyes at me or anything like that. This is real sauce. This is real, true reality. Because it works. If you want a functioning relationship, the guy has to lead. If you guys are tired of men not leading, find a good man. That's what I'm saying. Like, attract a good man, because if not, you're going to end up being with beta males and you're going to be the one that's leading the relationship. And I'm sure you guys are tired of it. So if you guys want to attract the right guy, follow these fucking steps. Like, for real. Like, listen to what I'm saying. Take it with an open heart. And I guarantee you're going to find that good man. And I hope you guys come back in a year or two, whenever this podcast gets out there, and there's women messaging me like, oh, you were right. I'm like, I know I'm right, because I've talked to men and what they want. Like, it's out there. I'm telling you guys exactly what men want. Those certain amount of men. So Back to number 4. That's where we were at. Mm-mm-mm. So we covered that. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of the things that I'm talking about with the 80% of men, those are the ones that are considered beta males, the simps. Those are the ones that are going to be liking all of your pictures, hearting all of your pictures, sending you dick pictures without you even asking for them. Like those are the simps. Like they're everywhere. And that's why you guys are disrespecting men just naturally. But just understand it is the majority of guys, but don't have that same attitude with the 20% of men. And I'm trying to tell you guys how to scope that 20% of guys. And what I mean by that is like if he's in front of you and you're used to these losers, you're not going to know what quality of guy that's in front of you. So all the steps that I'm telling you, you have to look at cues, look at his background, especially the relationship with his mother. I think that's one of the biggest ones. If he has a really bad relationship with his mom, he's going to want you as a mother, which is going to make you be the masculine woman in the relationship. There's just a lot of bad things with that. Mommy issues, even a guy that's really attached to the mom. I'm pretty sure you guys have experienced that. But not all cases are like that. But that's what I'm saying. You have to look at the cues, look at his childhood, his trauma. We all have trauma. Like we all have trauma. It's just the people that decide not to do the work to develop themselves to be better. So you got to look at their stuff. And I'm talking about the cues where if he's at the bar drinking every fucking day, every weekend, that's bad. He's battling something that you not want nothing with. So don't attract it. Don't waste your time. So let me see. Women are taught to do the best for the girl. Yeah, so I wrote out a little quote here at the end. Women are taught to do what's best for them. Men are taught to do what's right for everybody that he's around or he's leading in his family. So this is one of the narratives that we grow up in a world where women are spoiled. Everything is supposed to be nurtured to them, which is fine. But the thing is that in today's society, men are becoming weaker by the day. And I think that was my last episode, I think. The title was literally Weak Men. And the more that these weak men are out here, it's going to be very difficult for you to find a real man. I'm not telling you it's easy to find and attract the real guy or like the real man that you need in your life. I think I'm just telling you that don't lose hope if you feel stuck and you're like, man, I'm just going to give up on dating. Don't give up. Trust me. It's hard to find a good woman as well. It's really difficult. And I think both genders are experiencing this issue. But like I said, don't give up hope. We live in a world where women are supposed to be catered and men are supposed to be the ones that are supposed to be hunters and leading the world and everything like that too. It's the patriarchy. And I'm sure most feminists are not going to like that. But like I said, I don't give a fuck. The culture is fucked because of feminists and the whole way that the world is working right now. It's just not good. And it's due to little things like this. And we just have to step back and have humility. I think that's the best thing that I could say. And just understand what I'm telling you guys. You have to do the work yourself as well. Like I could keep telling you this stuff. I still have like 3 more. But just understand what I'm telling you. You still have to go out there and work on yourself. Be a likable person. Be somebody that's peaceful to be around. Because if you're just chaotic to be around, you think the right man's going to be like, oh, I'm going to want that. No, he's not. So these are things that you got to think about. I had to get some coffee quickly. Ooh, all right, let's continue. So, number 5. This is the most simple one. And this is the one I have to be careful with my words. This one does not disqualify you completely. Just understand that this is what men of high value look for. And it's don't be a hoe. Don't be for the streets. I think this is the one that most men, they see the behaviors of women. And we live in a generation right now where women are so sexually open with their body, what they show, where they're at, how they're exposing it. We live in a fucked up generation right now because celebrities are doing it. The shows are doing it. So women are getting influenced and thinking that that's normal. But you guys are not understanding that society is trying to push that to destroy the nuclear family. I truly feel society is pushing that for a reason, because they don't want no masculine man around. They don't. There's a study that Dr. I think his name is Dr. Orion. It's on YouTube. It's called Psy Hacks. And he talked about how feminists and women are pushing to destroy men very slowly. So a woman that's very sexualized being out there, a feminist that thinks that she could do whatever and no consequence, she ends up being with the beta male. She gets all she wants, the house, the money, the kids, and then she drains them from everything. And that puts her in power. So that move of feminist is what's destroying society, and it's happening everywhere. Married women are doing it. That's why most women that are doing bad things, they're staying with these men that are beta males because they know that there's no consequence for their behavior. So like the stat is 70-80% of women leave marriages, but the majority, they're not leaving because they know that they have a beta male in their life and he's not going to do anything. She's not done destroying him. She's not done doing her due diligence, which is really bad. And I see it. Like I pay attention to the world and my experiences and the people that I've known, the stories that I've heard. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this happening? Until I heard that episode. You guys should go listen to it. It's just put Psy Hacks on YouTube and he explains it. And I think it's the creation of the beta male. But it explains what women are doing. Like the push on why this specific type of women is influencing a lot of women to destroy men at the end of the day. And the way he explained it was the show of Survivor, on how how it's like men and women, and then the women ended up winning. It explains it. Trust me, you guys have to go see it. I can't explain it fully right now because I'm not gonna remember all of it, but it explains it as to what women are doing in today's society to destroy the true masculine essence of the world. And I always say it on my podcast, and I always say it anywhere. And I'm going to die on my grave saying this, is that true masculinity is going to save the world. Without it, the world is going to collapse. And the more that these women are feeling sexually entitled and they call it empowerment, they're destroying it. There's a book, I don't think I have it. I don't think I have it with me, but it's the research of civilization and the way that the kings and emperors and leaders of the world back in the day, there was a person that studied how civilizations flourished and how civilizations crumbled. And I think the number one reason civilizations crumbled was promiscuity, which is women being very sexually with their bodies, showing it out there, being prostitutes, OnlyFans, it's things like that. So It's history is repeating itself, and we have to be careful. That's why I myself have become really passionate about doing these podcasts, because I've got so much knowledge in me now that I'm like, I need to tell somebody. It's going to help somebody out. They're going to see the world different. They're going to be unplugged. And I want people to see the world from a different lens, because everybody's looking at the world in the same lens. And what is that? What's happening with that? It's so much misery and fuckery. That's why everybody's saying that the dating culture right now, it's so fucked. And they're not lying. It's true. It's so fucked. So that's why all these stats and research, that's why evolutionary psychology is very important to study, because you see how people are behaving through evolution and it repeats itself. So going back to number 5, don't be a hoe. Just plain simple. Guys are going to pay attention. And if they see that you're easily accessible to men, that's the biggest turnoff that a guy could have, is if he knows that a woman is a hoe or was a hoe. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this doesn't completely disqualify you, but the thing is that if he finds out that 5-10 years ago you were being freely with your body, he's gonna leave you. He's not gonna give you the ring. So that's a big one. And research indicates too that if a woman has more than 5 body count, the chances dwindle for you to be in a happy marriage. It's the oxytocin that women release, the pair bonding, all that stuff. It's biology. It affects women if they have a high body count. So that's why most men, like, they don't want a woman with a high body count, because if she does, you're just gonna feel like another number for her. You know, men want a woman that's pure. That's why you see cases where guys go for younger women is because they're pure. It's in our biology. Most women, they're not going to want to hear that, but that's why most guys that are older, they want somebody that's more pure. You know, it's biology. That's what I'm telling you. Like, it's biology. We can't run from it. Women are not going to understand it, but I'm here to tell you, this is the way guys think and why they think this way. So that's number 5. Yeah, I explained as to why it happens if the woman has over 5. Yeah, because no guy ever says, "Oh, I wish that she could fuck one more guy before I marry her." That just, trust me, it just doesn't sit well with him. And vice versa. That's the thing about it. It's like, you guys might think that you guys don't want a guy that hasn't slept with many women. But the thing is that for most women to sleep with that many guys, it's very easy. Like, think about it. For a girl to sleep with a lot of guys, it is extremely easy, because most guys are after you. They're after you all fucking day long. And honestly, any woman right now, she could go out to a bar, sit at the bar, and she's going to be approached in the first 10 minutes, even less. I explain this to women. They're like, no, it's not the same. Maybe it's a double standard and it's not fair. But that's just the way the world is, because for a man to sleep with a lot of women, it's very hard. A guy has to be somebody for women to be attracted to him, to be able to give him the goodies. Guys don't just get women. In most cases of guys cheating, going back to the guys that, or when I said women cheat more, most cases of guys that cheat, it's usually an ex. It's usually somebody that they know from school or like something like that. Like, but I'm talking about most guys, they settle for that. You know, that's how most of those guys, they just settle for somebody that it's in their inner circle. A high value guy, he pulls women from everywhere. Like, they're after him, new women. That's a whole different game. That's why I said most guys, they don't even have the chance to cheat or even have sex. 1 out of 3 guys hasn't had sex in the last 10 years. And I'm talking about from guys that are I said it wrong. From the age of 18 to 30, 1 out of 3 guys are virgins or hasn't had sex in the last, I think 3 years or something like that. So biology is very different. It's a double standard. But like I said, most guys can get sex. And I feel like all women could if they really wanted to. So that's what I'm saying. Like, how can it be a flex for a woman to sleep with that many guys? Knowing that she was just being freely with handing it out to anybody. A guy sees that and he's like, well, she has no value because it was easy for her to hand it out and she kept doing it. That means that she doesn't respect herself. But that's what I'm saying. Like, for a guy to get women, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. He has to be of value. He has to have charm. He has to have looks. He has to have money. I mean, unless the woman is broken and she just falls for anybody that's at the bar. That's the majority of the case, but that's the case where broken people end up being with broken people. And then you ask yourself, like, why the fuck is this world so fucked? Start looking at cues. That's what I keep telling you. So number 6 is the mate choice copying. I talked about that earlier. Don't have guy friends, because a guy sees that and he's attracted to a girl that he might potentially turn into a wife. He's going to look how much stimulus that she gets from the opposite sex. Like, if she's really open and touchy and loud with them and just too freely with that, that's a huge turnoff for the right man. That's what I'm saying. Like, for the right man. Don't roll your eyes at me. I'm telling you guys, this is only like the top guy thinks that like this. You guys have dealt with losers for the most part. And it's okay. I've dealt with a lot of loser women. But I understand that there's a percentage of these people. There's good men out there. There's great women out there as well. But you have to find the cues, and I'm giving you guys a sauce to how to attract it. So just think about it, because I know you guys are going to be like, what the fuck, man? This is a hard listen. But like I said, if you guys don't want to listen to it, go back out to the world, and you guys are going to keep getting the same results. I'm trying to give you guys something that's going to help see the world different, move different, talk different. And I could almost guarantee you'll get results. Like, I'm not a person to just guarantee stuff like that. But this is one of the things that most women, they don't have this type of information out there. Most of the podcasts that I see of women when they're talking on their podcast, it's just gossip. They're just talking about their exes, their experiences, but where's the value in that? Think about it. Like, most of it is just gossip and garbage. I know women love gossip. That's fine. But if you're going to take the time to listen to a podcast like this one, I want you to get value out of it. I don't want you to just listen to it and be like, oh, he's just bullshitting. Take it however you want. But if you want results, take this to heart. I'm telling you guys, like, I'm not trying to talk shit. I don't know you. I don't owe you guys anything. I'm giving you guys this because I want to help. If you guys want to listen to it, listen to it. If you guys don't, go back to the fucking bar. Good luck. I really want to help. So back to number 6. It was the mate choice copying. So let me see. Oh yeah, another cue. I kind of just summarize it very quickly on here. But they did a study on orangutans, the monkeys, the gorillas. I don't know if you guys know what type of animal that is. So they did a study that the betas in that community of monkeys, whenever the alphas were out hunting for the food and stuff, the betas would stay behind. And what they would do is they would blend in with the women. They would actually feminize themselves to kind of be women, which are beta. That's what betas are. They have feminine energy. But this is very telling because this is what happens today in society. Like that guy that tries to be funny, he's trying to get into your space. He's just really trying hard with his words, humor, whatever, He's trying to blend in, but it's almost very feminine. That's a cue that most of you guys miss. Because I've heard many stories like, oh, he was funny. I'm like, yeah, he was trying to blend in. He dropped, I wouldn't even call him masculine. He just dropped more of his, or actually excelled his feminine energy, so that way you could fall into his space and you feel safe in that. And this is just for like a certain amount of guys. I'm not telling you guys that all guys do this, because it could be masculine beta males or whatever, but this could be a possibility. Those guys that are in your DMs chasing you, that's why I'm saying the majority are beta males, because they're trying to get in just to have sex with you, while the alphas are out there. That's what I'm saying. Women, they always say, oh, the guy should chase me. He should. But the thing is that the alpha, they're just too busy out in the world chasing excellence. So he's not always going to have time to be pursuing you like a beta male. I think that's the point of this, is like a beta male, he's going to have all fucking day long to message you, to see how you're doing, message you good morning, good afternoon, good night. What did you eat today? What did you have for dinner? Did you go work out? Like all this shit. And you guys have heard that. But the high value guy, he doesn't have time for that stuff. That's why I gave the example of the fucking orangutan, because a lot of these guys are orangutans, but beta males. They're trying to blend in. They bring no value to you. They're just trying to use you, and they're literally feminizing themselves to be in your your area of space, whether it be through a date, friend groups, or whatever. Like, he's trying to blend in. I think that's a coward move to do as a man anyways. But I'm telling you guys, this is what happens in the world, and you guys are missing it. Stop listening to people that haven't done it. I'm telling you, like, a lot of these things, it's information that's going to help you. And before anybody says, oh, well, Edgar, he's single, he hasn't been with somebody, I'm like, I'm choosing to be this way. Look, have you guys seen how the culture is? Like, I'm choosing to be in my own space for a while, because I did go through a relationship just recently. Well, not recently, maybe like a year ago, but I don't want to put myself in that space again, because I am working on myself. I am developing my mindset. I'm reading books. I'm helping myself out as much as possible. I'm trying to get a better physique myself. Like, I'm doing the work that everybody talks about. I'm not going to spew too much salt, or I guess tea, but my ex didn't do this. I just found out some fucking crazy shit, but we all dodge a bullet. That's all I'm going to say about that. But we all dodge a bullet for a reason. And I'm happy where I'm at. It kind of just summarizes as to what, like, everything that I'm talking about. Understanding the nature of women. And the last relationship, I did step away. I'm the one that dumped her. But whatever happened after in her life, I'm not going to put her shit out there. But all I will say is that I'm glad that I did. And I dodged a huge bullet. And now it's somebody else's problem, not mine. I think after a relationship, the true colors of who you are as a human being really show. I think that's why a lot of people, they keep repeating the same problems over and over, because they break up with a person, and then the next thing that they want to do is go out, find somebody new. That's the worst thing that you could do. That's the worst thing. You have to work on yourself mentally, see what you could have done better. Don't just blame your fucking partner. Because that's what a lot of people do. And that's why they end up being in the same situation. So You have to keep working on yourself mentally, your body, your relationship with whoever's around you. And you're going to attract the right people in your life. Because just think about it. Like, whenever you've done things in your life, whether it be getting fit, you get people to tell you that you're doing amazing, right? Like, people notice it. So these are cues that you could develop in yourself, and you'll attract the right man into your life. If you're fit, if he sees you doing things like going to church, not at the bar, like, whatever you put out there, it's your resume. That's the best way I could explain it. Whatever you put out publicly, it's a resume for you to be qualified for the right man or for him to disqualify you. You got to look at life that way, because if you don't see it that way, you're going to keep repeating the same mistake over and over. You have to find places where these men are. Usually most of these guys, they are at gyms as well, because usually the guy that works on himself, he wants a better physique. He'll be at these places like the gym, self-development, the library. On one of my episodes with the Antisocial Edge podcast, because I'm in another podcast, we talked about where men could find quality men, where they can network and have a brotherhood. And it's what golf courses, cigar lounges. So I'm not going to give you guys that example of where you guys should go to these fucking golf courses and cigar lounges. But there is cases. I live in Vegas. So there is cases where women actually go and try to learn how to golf, because they know that there's high value guys there, guys with money, guys with influence. So you have to put yourself in the right place. I think that's how I started it with number one. You have to put yourself in the right place where you're going to be encountered by this person. I know it might be easier said than done, but you have to think about these things, because if you keep going to the bar, you keep going on girls trips, you keep traveling, focusing on yourself, just think about it like this. It's okay to do all that if you want, if you're single, this and that, but just know that it's a resume for the right guy. He's going to look at all that. He's going to care about your past, because a past that's going to explain to him if you're going to be disciplined during the relationship. Nobody just flicks the switch and be like, oh, I'm going to be feminine and I'm going to be disciplined. Like, he's not going to be thinking like that about you. We're humans. We develop habits. We develop traits. Like, we're human. We do these things instinctively without even thinking. So the more you develop yourself, that's what I'm telling you. If you develop yourself over and over to have these good cues in your head to be like, you know what, today I'm going to go to the gym, work on my body, take down pictures that are showing too much, go to the gym. You'll find maybe a good guy there. And another thing too, most people are meeting through social circles nowadays, which is like friends and like events and stuff like that. So dating apps could work, but for the most part, people are meeting more in social groups. So get yourself in social groups of places of self-development, masterminds, these events where people are trying to do business. Even if you don't have a business, just go to these events. You're going to find men of value in these events. And trust me, it's gonna make you see the world different, because you're gonna be approached differently. Because I'm pretty sure whenever you go to a bar or these places, you're approached more sexually. You're not gonna be approached with respect. So start putting yourself in these places. So you guys have to take this information however you guys want. I don't know how many times you rolled your eyes, but I'm telling you, it's gonna work. This is information I got from many guys, myself, my experiences. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot more to this. And I think here in the future, I might open up like one-on-one calls where you guys could give me a call and I'll be able to give you a rundown of stuff that could potentially help your dating life. I think I might offer that because I already get a lot of messages. And honestly, I'm not a licensed therapist. I don't have no certification. I speak from experience. I speak from stories. I speak from how the world works and my studies that I do with psychology. And I think experience is the best teacher. So I'd rather have somebody on my corner that has experience than somebody that doesn't. And this is not to shit on therapists and stuff, but I think experience is the best teacher. It's going to teach you more than a book ever would. So I'm going to end it with that, guys. I think I covered pretty much everything, and I'm going to be doing more episodes so that way you guys could see the results. I actually want to start talking to people on the podcast. If you guys want to ever chime in, shoot me a DM. I'm actually going to put the banner here at the bottom quickly, so that way you guys could hit up my Instagram or TikTok. I am putting these videos on YouTube now too. So if you guys ever want to come into this podcast, we could chop it up and debate, talk about your story, what you're going through. And I'll be able to give you guys the best advice possible from my heart. I'm not just going to talk shit because, like I said, there's a lot of content out there that's catering to your emotions, but they're not telling you what you need to hear. They're just making you feel good. Think about it. Like, they make you feel good, but they don't give you value to attack what you're supposed to. Just think about that. Because there's a lot of guys that are doing this shit too, and they're giving terrible advice. I look at it and I'm telling you, I've gone down so much down the fucking rabbit hole. And they're just giving bad advice. It's my opinion, whatever. But the thing is like, I've given this advice to people and they actually said, thank you for giving me this advice, because I gave them something that they needed to hear. I wasn't just there to be like, oh baby, you're good or whatever like that. Like, no, I'm gonna tell you the way it's supposed to be. I'm not gonna tell you just to make you feel good. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to help you because your life matters. Everybody's going through shit. Everybody goes through situations in life. They feel stuck. They don't know how to get out of it. But if you need that place to come and talk, I'm going to open it up. So if you guys want to come on here and talk, if you guys want to do one-on-one, like I said, I'm going to work on that this weekend. I might offer it because it's crazy, because I put these podcasts out and after I start getting messages that they have questions about certain things. So I'm here to help, guys. I have much love for you guys, for everybody that's listening, men and women, and just stay strong. No matter what you guys are going through, you're not the only one. So we're here to help each other up, to lift each other up as much as possible. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Luna out.